Today's news. Azerbaijan lacks democratic climate, says International Observation Mission. 2000 parliamentary elections cannot be deemed free and fair, says Election Monitoring and Democracy Training Center. Azerbaijani Popular Front Party Musavat coalition. Voting rigged would demand new elections. The parliamentary elections in Azerbaijan were held peacefully with the participation of all parties. However, the election demonstrated that there has been no significant progress in the country's democratization, says the statement by International Observation Mission, comprising OSCE, Council of Europe, and European Parliament representatives, released today. The observers noted that the restrictions on press freedom and freedom of assembly, along with some opposition candidates' inability to register, led to the weakening of the opposition and made a genuine political debate impossible. These actions curtailed the development of a competitive environment and created unequal conditions for candidates. All of this impeded the voter choice, says the statement. The voting procedures were assessed positively in 90% of the election precincts observed on the voting day, while serious problems were registered in 10% of the precincts. One of the serious problems was multiple voting, a single person putting several ballot papers in the ballot box. Above and beyond what it is already doing, Azerbaijan needs to work harder to achieve a true pluralist democracy, said the head of OSCE Parliamentary Assembly's Pre-Election Observation Mission and OSCE PA Vice President Wolfgang Korastrak. Economic development and stability in Azerbaijan can be enhanced through liberalization and democratization. Independent observers revealed violations in vote counting, prosecution of oppositional observers, and the placing of numerous ballot papers in ballot boxes. Azerbaijan should take necessary steps to ensure democratization, said the head of European Parliament delegation. Unfortunately, our monitoring revealed the absence of favorable conditions for fully democratic elections. Restrictions on fundamental liberties, bias of mass media, and serious violations on the voting day give us real cause for concern. We are ready to assist the Azerbaijan government in implementing its obligations to the OSCE, said Ambassador Audrey Glover of the OSCE Election Observation Mission.
We have indeed seen that the Central Election
We are not here to assess the country in all its aspects, many of which are extreme.
Violations during the 2010 parliamentary elections and the general election environment. We do not believe that these elections can be deemed free and fair, the director of the Elections Monitoring and Democracy Training Center, Anar Mamadli, announced at a press conference. According to Mamadli, serious law violations were more common when compared to previous year's elections. The restrictions surrounding political liberties, including press and speech freedom, freedom of assembly, and association, remained in place during the election period. The candidate registration phase was accompanied by serious violations. As a result, the election took place without enough alternative candidates. Political parties and candidates were not campaigning under equal and competitive conditions. Candidates, voters, and observers faced numerous pressures and threats. Mamadli said that there had been a significant number of violations in the election precincts, notably instances where the same person voted several times, using false ballot papers. For this reason, he doubted the accuracy and veracity of the voting results. EMDTC Executive Director Basir Süleymanlı said that the center's 40 observers, who have been working with the EMDTC for a number of weeks during the run-up to the election, refused to continue their work as a result of pressure by local executive officers. To the director, the harassment of observers was more frequent in Nakhchivan, Sabirabad, Guba, and Gusar. According to the EMDTC recommendations, the Election Commission should investigate all the appeals and complaints, and all political parties should be provided with free and equal conditions to be represented in government. APFP Musavat Coalition. Voting rigged. We demand new elections. The Azerbaijan Popular Front Party Musavat Coalition considers the 2010 parliamentary elections undemocratic and unfair. APFP and Musavat party leaders announced at a press conference today. Even before the election, the government took measures to place restrictions on the political conditions. The electoral code was changed, the pre-election campaign period was truncated, and the usual allocation of funds from the state budget for candidates was abolished. Moreover, the imprisonment of journalists and bloggers and restrictions on freedoms of speech and assembly affected the pre-election climate. The authorities prevented 60% of the opposition bloc candidates from registering. Not satisfied with all of this, the authorities resorted to total fraud during the voting and counting, said Musavat leader Isa Gambar. Gambar said that after the voting, observers were driven out of the election precincts, and that a number of false ballot papers were thrown into the ballot box. The elections held by the government exceeded our expectations in terms of fraud. If the elections were at all transparent, APFP Musavat candidates would have won in all election constituencies. Yesterday's events consisted of more than just election rigging. Azerbaijan is getting close to Uzbekistani-style politics, APFP Chairman Ali Karimli emphasized. Opposition leaders also said that they will fight for the annulment of these voting results and for new elections.